Hello friends, Rohit this side. In today's video, we are going to see the interview, my experience and my suggestion. So the first and most important is documentation part. Last year and previous to that year, there were more rejection in documentation than the interview result. NOC is mandatory for all means all for private banks also, for any other organization also, if you are presently working in any organization. Relieving letter if you have left the organization, and other documentation that will be mentioned in the checklist given while in the interview call. No benefit of arguing at the interview center that this is the rule, private banks are not required, etc., etc. There is no benefit. Take photocopies of your all document, take the same photograph that is fixed on the admit card. uh, Go through the checklist of documents again and again, arrange them in a series, make sure your all documents are there. I am again repeating, there are more rejections in documentation than the interview result. If you are through the documentation, means you have cleared the first lap of your race. Then comes to the competition. IBPS RRB 3, there were number of vacancies were more than the people called for the interview at many RRBs. Interview was taken by respective RRB. Suppose in a state like Haryana Gramin Bank, for example, I am not giving the actual figure, the vacancies were supposed 30, the interview people called were 25. These were the as per the discussion in the WhatsApp group of that particular year aspirants. But many RRB did not consider non-banking experience at that time. People argued that I am from the LIC or I am from this Prudential, ICC Prudential or any other organization. But many RRBs refused, in spite that it was mentioned in the notification by IBPS. This was in the IBPS RRB 3 when the interviews were taken by respective RRB. But later things changed. In IBPS RRB 4, interview was conducted by IBPS. It was more standardized, competition improved, non-banking people were also considered. uh, then in IBPS RRB 5 present year, we expect the as in the last year seats were not filled, so this year people called are much more. You can see the, I have seen myself, the whoever guy I am calling in my bank, most of them have cleared the IBPS RRB scale 2 paper. So uh, be ready with your documents. First lap is in your hand, you can easily clear the documentation part. Then to the interview experience. First part, long waiting. There was a queue, the mismanagement on the first day, then people were called. The interview calling, I suppose it was according to the marks, but you can also interpret it by going to your center, by interacting with other people. Then after documentation, there was an interview by the panel of retired bankers. There was one female and 3 4 male. What there is going to be one person into the interview panel who is going to ask about your family, education, your siblings, what have you done in your life, what you aim for, means HR, human resource type questions. There will be other person who will be focusing on banking and general knowledge questions. Rest of you all know about your attire, document folder, etc. Then coming to what was asked in the interview, it depends on you where you take it. Most questions are like, what are you going to answer? The term that you use in your answer is going to make them the give them the new questions. So the most obvious question, tell me about yourself. Why are you leaving the existing bank or whatever organization that you are working with? Why coming to regional rural bank in the where you are going to work in villages? Then there will be question about the bit questions about banking terms. For me it was NP, how does it affect banking? There was question about provisioning, because at that time I suppose NPA was much more popular in the news. Then there was a question about China devalued currency and how the Indian stocks were crashed. I remember the just before the interview date, 2 days before it crashed, and it was the question was asked, any plan of leaving RRB, because the seats are limited and the mostly people leave RRB of on the scale 1, they go for the nationalized bank or SSC, etc. So the interview people want the person who are going to stay in this organization. So they are going to ask this you in the indirectly, what are your plans, etc., etc. Why are you leaving? Then what if you don't get your home state? You those days smart cities was introduced by government, so there was a question about that. One question about what's popular in your city. Then they related it to the banking terms, in the business terms. Lot of questions were about what are you doing. If suppose I am in a bank, what is the deposit side, asset size, NPA part, what kind of loan are NPA, what are you doing, how are you improving your business. And of course all of you know, in the scale to 90% of you will be branch manager, so questions about that. So I will say the interview is not very difficult. Basic banking terminologies will be asked. Those who are working in banks, it will be very easy. For other, go through them. And of course you can say easily say I am working in this insurance or this particular NBFC gold loan section. So they know means what are you presently working, and the best answer will be I am a quick learner when I will get to the banking or this particular loaning part. Yes, in the banking, private banks, there are various sections like retail banking, RPCs, backends. So those who are working in a particular section don't know much about the others. So, however, in the RRB, a manager is supposed to know everything because it is they are going to do the business by deposit, assets. Each part will be handled by the managers. So the questions may be asked of something which you don't know, like the assets. You have not done the loaning part, so you have to manage it like I'm a quick learner, so I know the basic banking. When I will join this particular bank, I will go through circulars and I will learn from the colleagues, and I'm sure I will definitely do good. Have to manage like that. What is my suggestions? Read about demonetization. From today only start reading newspaper daily. Read a good newspaper like Hindu, but you can say Hindu is a bit biased towards the government. Leaving that, don't read political news. Focus on news like recently there was a news NABARD gave this much for the increasing point of sale in villages to cooperative bank, etc. News about demonetization. You can read editorials. Then you can those who are non-banker should read the basic banking terminology. uh, it's better to say sorry rather than building a story for a question you don't know the answer. And as a thanks, on the screen you can say wrong spelling. So as a thanks to me for this video, I will request you to please send your interview experience by mail or a video to WhatsApp in our group or individually to me, so that this video or the experience will help others. Add other aspirants of your venue to group. You can send their number to group so that we can have a great discussion after the interview and before the results, and it will help the next year aspirants also. Thank you very much. All the best. Thank you.